fair as it might be, a country of righteousness, where none shall wrong his neighbor, a country of plenty, where evil and poverty shall be done away with, a country of brotherhood, where all success shall be founded on service and honor shall be given to the deserving, a country of peace, where government shall rest on the will of the people and the love for the common good. Let the efforts of those who struggle to make this vision a living reality inspire and strengthen our people, that they may give time, thought, and sacrifice to speed the day of the coming beauty of Ghana and Africa. Amen. Honorable members, I have received from the Electoral Commission the writ of election on the Kumawu by-election held on Tuesday, 23rd May 2023. And I shall proceed to read the communication. It's dated 29th May 2023. It reads, Dear Sir, submission of writ of election for the Kumawu parliamentary by-election held on 23rd May 2023. I bring you warm greetings from the Electoral Commission and trust that this letter finds you well. Please find attached the writ of election for the Kumawu parliamentary by-election held on Tuesday, 23rd May 2023 in the Kumawu constituency. Thank you. Yours sincerely, Mrs. Jane Mensah, Chairperson. The writ states as follows. Electoral Commission, Form of Writ, Public Elections Regulations 2020 CI 127, Form 1A, Regulation 42. Writ of election to the returning officer for the Kumawu constituency. Whereas elections are to be held for the election of a member of parliament, whereas there exists a vacancy in the membership of parliament for the Kumawu constituency, now therefore I do hereby command that you cause the election of a member of parliament to be held according to law for the said constituency and that you do certify on this with the name of the person elected. I do hereby direct that the nominations shall take place from the 2nd day of May 2023 to the 5th day of May at the Electoral Commission, and that the poll shall be taken, if necessary, on the 23rd day of May 2023. Chairperson, Electoral Commission, signed. And then behind, we have certificate to be endorsed on rates. I read the certificate. I hereby certify that the Member of Parliament elected for the Kumewu constituency in pursuance of this rate is Ernest Yao Enim. And the number of votes cast in respect of each of the candidates at the election is as follows. I'll read the names of the candidates and then the votes obtained. Number 1, Ernest Yao Enim, 15,264. Number 2, Kwesi Amankwa, 3,723. Number 3, Kweku Dua, 2,478. Number 4, Kweku Dua again, 62. So we had 2 Kweku Duas contesting. And this is dated 23rd May 2023. Signed, Returning Officer. Honorable members, Order 14, Rule 1 of the Standing Orders stipulates that every member shall, before taking his seat formally in Parliament, take and subscribe before the Speaker in the House and in the presence of other members of Parliament the oath of allegiance and the oath of a member of Parliament set out in Appendix C1 and 3 to these orders. Honorable members, furthermore, Order 14.2 states that a member may, instead of taking the oath, make and subscribe to a solemn affirmation as stated in these orders. Honorable members, I shall invite the honorable member-elect for the Kumewu constituency to proceed to the Speaker's dais to be sworn into office.
So I'll face he's taking my shine.
Honorable members, I shall now proceed to administer the oaths. But I first want to know from the member-elect whether he wants to use the Holy Bible or the cross.
The Holy Bible.
Honorable members, I'm going to start as stated by the standing order with the oath of allegiance. And as I read, you say and repeat what I say after me. I,
Ernest Yao Enim,
do
in the name of the Almighty God swear
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Republic of Ghana
Honorable member, more haste, no speed. So we'll take it again because you have to repeat after me.
Okay.
I,
Ernest Yao Enim,
do
in
the name of the Almighty God swear
in the name of the Almighty God swear
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Republic of Ghana as by law established.
to the Republic of Ghana as by law established.
That I will uphold
The
the sovereignty and integrity of Ghana.
sovereignty and integrity of Ghana.
And that I will preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana.
the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana.
So help me God.
So help me God.
This is to the public gallery. No clapping in Parliament.
Okay.
We always say, yeah, not clapping. Honorable members, we now proceed to the oath of a member of Parliament. Once again, you repeat after me.
I, Ernest Yao Enim,
having been elected a member of Parliament, do in the name of the Almighty God swear that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Republic of Ghana
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Republic of Ghana
as by law established. That I will uphold, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana.
and defend the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana.
And that I will faithfully
And
and conscientiously discharge the duties of a member of Parliament.
discharge the duties of a member of Parliament.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Honorable member, congratulations.
Thank you.
You are now duly sworn in as a member of Parliament for the Kumewu constituency.
Thank you, Speaker.
These are the tools you take to your farm. And as you enter I'll be observing you to see whether you have the hoe and cutlass. This one is what will determine your harvest in this house. I pray and hope that you follow it faithfully.
I'll do so.
Honorable members, may the chief whips proceed to conduct the member to his seat. Chief Whip. Honorable members, may I now invite the majority and the minority leaders to congratulate the honorable member on his election and to welcome him to this August House. We will start with that of the minority leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, first, let me also use this opportunity to congratulate the new Member of Parliament for the good people of Kumewu to the Parliament of Ghana. Mr. Speaker, I say this because the former Member of Parliament, the Honorable Baswa, was indeed a good friend to most of us. The Honorable Baswa actually worked in such a way that he cut across the divide of the House and exhibit competence in his work. It is our hope that our new colleague, who has just joined us today, will learn from the good example of our colleague, departed colleague, the Honorable Baswa, who unfortunately passed on in the first meeting of this Parliament. Mr. Speaker, again, it is my hope that our colleague will quickly settle down as a Member of Parliament for the people of Kumewu, and then obviously perform the task that he has to perform according to the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. To conclude, Mr. Speaker, I wish him well and congratulate him once again for winning the heavily contested by-election that was recently conducted. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to also add my voice to congratulate the Honorable Ernest Yawanim for the victory that he chalked at the Kumewu by-election. Mr. Speaker, I must congratulate him for the demeanor and the posturing that he exhibited. And over there at Kumewu, he was described as a unifier. I want to believe that post his election, he would continue on that path, trying to unite the entirety of the constituency, regardless of the political persuasion of the individuals there. Mr. Speaker, the contest at Kumewu a by-election contest was generally clean and devoid of the usual acrimony associated with by-elections. And the people of Kumawu must be congratulated for exhibiting true patriotism. And one hopes that the impending by-election will be conducted on the same path generally. Mr. Speaker, the responsibilities of a member of parliament are well cut out. The representation function of a member, the debate that we have in this chamber, information dissemination, legislation. Not too many members are interested in arguably the greatest function of a member of parliament, which is legislation. The financial control that we do here, and the oversight responsibility. The Speaker, these are the core functions of members of parliament. And it's good that at his baptism, we have given him the constitution and the standing orders, which are our rules of procedure. I want, just as you urged him, to also urge him, Speaker, that within the limited time that he has barely 1.5 years to be in this house for the conduct of another election, the main election, the general election slated for 2024, which we hold in December. Within this limited time, he is required to distinguish himself so that his people will see the goodness in him and vote again for him in the next impending election. Mr. Speaker, I can only wish him well. I see in him tremendous potential, and I believe he will rise to the occasion. I thank you for the opportunity, and once again, I welcome him. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the space accorded.
Well, Honorable Member, you are the newest, the freshest member in this House. First impression, as you know, is very lasting. So, I'm very observant. Wherever you want to hide yourself, I will see you. And that first impression is very important. And that is what will lead you through the next election. I wish you well, and may the good Lord continue to bless you. Honorable members, I have about 8 messages from His Excellency the President. Honorable members, before I proceed to the messages from the President, my attention has just been drawn to the fact that the Honorable Member of Parliament that has just been sworn in was led and continued to the House by some of our revered, illustrious, and well-respected chiefs in the country. They are led by the paramount chief of the Kumewu traditional area, in fact, traditional council. His Majesty Berma Safo Chinibua Kodua. I recognize him at the Distinguished Persons Gallery. Please, you are most welcome. Then we also have the Kumewu Rasihene Achemfo Adu Achampong. Then the Kumewu Insenye Hine Nana Obeng Daku Achampong. And the chief linguist, Chiame Ousu Bempa Kodua. Honorable members, on your behalf, I want to warmly welcome them to their house. This is your house. At any time, you are welcome. And also to thank you for bringing up a young man who has been able to go through the struggle of a competition of a nature that I'm very used to, and has made it to the house. We pray and hope that you will continue to support him to succeed. This struggle is not for one man, it's for all of us. And so please kindly continue with the guidance, the counseling, and all the facilitation to make him succeed in assisting you to develop the constituency. Thank you so much for coming. I will plead with honorable members that in view of the agenda before us, I will call on the Office of the Official Reports, usually referred to as Hansard, to capture the contents of the 8 communications which have been pending since we were on recess. But just to read the last one, dated 26th May 2023. The first is dated 26th April 2023. We have one dated 2nd May 2023. The next is dated 3rd May 2023, followed by 10th May 2023, 12th May 2023, 17th May 2023, 20th May 2023, and I will now read the 26th May 2023. Mr. Speaker, absence from Ghana. In accordance with Article 59 of the Constitution, I write to inform you that I'll be traveling outside the country in the forenoon of Sunday, 28th May, to Abuja, Nigeria, at the invitation of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Muhammadu Buhari, to attend the inauguration ceremony of the 16th President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, scheduled to be held on Monday, 29th May 2023. I will return to Ghana on Monday, 29th May 2023. During my absence, the Vice President, Alhaji Dr. Mahmudu Bawumia, shall, in accordance with Article 68 of the Constitution, act in my stead. Yours sincerely and best wishes, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Please, Hansard Office, kindly capture all the rest. Honorable members, I now proceed to invite leaders first. I think that should be the order. To welcome you before I give my formal welcome of all of you from the recess. We start with the minority leader, or welcome remarks, then the majority leader before I deliver mine. Please, you may go on.
And the government must be commended. After grossly mismanaged the Ghanaian economy and subsequently running to the IMF support, they are arrogantly asking Ghanaians to pat them at the back for alleged early conclusion of IMF. Mr. Speaker, that cannot be the case. As a matter of importance, Mr. Speaker, let me state that on a rather sad note, the Supreme Court has declared the election and subsequently swearing in into office of the Member of Parliament for Asin North, the Honourable James Kwesi, as unconstitutional, null and void, and of no legal effect, and accordingly ordered Parliament to expunge the name of the Honourable Member of Asin North from the records of Parliament as the MP for Asin North. Right Honourable Speaker, we have expressed our disappointment at the ruling of the court at a very different fora, and I do same today. At the appropriate time, Mr. Speaker, we shall seek your guidance on the effect and implication of the ruling of the court. Once again, Mr. Speaker, we are urging the IGP and the chairperson of the Electoral Commission to ensure that the by-elections are free, fair, and incident-free, just like the NDC primaries. We do not want and cannot afford another Ayawaso West wagon incident. Mr. Speaker, as a country, we are yet to overcome the blot in our democratic governance arising from the unprecedented violence meted out to innocent civilians by the party thugs in uniform at Ayawaso West wagon. And that is why, Mr. Speaker, we wish and say that the Electoral Commission and the chairperson of the EC must demonstrate her neutrality as an unbiased umpire, and the IGP must prove to the people of Ghana that indeed he is responsible for the domestic security of our country. To conclude, Mr. Speaker, once again, I welcome colleagues back from recess, and I wish to say that we have a lot more work to do, particularly in tackling the challenges of our sick and troubling Ghanaian economy. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Majority Leader.
Speaker, let me, on the lines of what my colleague, the Minority Leader, has indicated, also add my voice to welcome members from the adjournment that we had following the emergency sitting, or is it a special meeting that ensued from the special recall that you, Right Honourable Speaker, caused of Parliament on May 2nd, 2023. The Speaker, I noticed that on the votes and proceedings today, we have, and I quote, minutes of the emergency sitting of Parliament on Tuesday, 2nd May 2023. Unquote. The Speaker, I've oftentimes raised this matter. The meeting by Order 7 is defined as meaning, and I'm quoting, any sitting or sittings of Parliament commencing when Parliament first meets after being summoned at any time, and ending when Parliament is adjourned sine die. You summon Parliament to meet on 2nd May, and at the end of it, you adjourned Parliament sine die. Can it be construed as a meeting? I believe so. That it qualifies to be described as a meeting. Oftentimes, we have the votes and proceedings recorded as sitting. I think we can come to some determination on that. The Speaker, In the course of the recess, the NDC had their parliamentary and presidential primaries. My sincere wish was that all of them, the members of parliament, should have emerged triumphant, because I believe that building stronger parliaments, and indeed building a strong parliament in Ghana, is necessarily predicated on experience. That members who might have stayed for some time in the House and grown to attain some knowledge and experience. Unfortunately, 16 of our colleagues, we are told, lost. Quite unfortunately. There are some of them that 17. Mr. Speaker, there are some of them that visibly we can attest to the fact that they are very experienced and mature people who add value to the deliberations of the House. That we have lost them is regrettable. And I have always insisted that the political parties, including in particular MPP and NDC, should have serious introspection over their constitutions. Mr. Speaker, what we are doing in Ghana, as far as the conduct of primaries is concerned, at the end of the life of every parliament, does not exist in any of the entrenched democracies. And by that practice, we're sowing the seeds of corruption. We must admit to that. So, Mr. Speaker, let me use this occasion to once again appeal to our political parties, the two strong parties, NDC, MPP. Please reflect on your various constitutions, your respective constitutions, because what is happening is not the best. Mr. Speaker, but I believe that we shall have time to discuss the state of the economy at this meeting, especially when we have the mid-year review. I'm surprised my colleague is jump-starting. He wants a debate now. And he says that this government has run to the IMF and is attributable to gross mismanagement. You also sprinted to the IMF. Was it on account of gross mismanagement of the economy? Mr. Speaker, I don't know where my colleague is coming from. And Mr. Speaker, at the time when they sprinted to the IMF, there was no COVID. There was a self-inflicted doomsday on this country, attributable to you. Mr. Speaker, you should be careful when you begin to sing dirges. As I told you the other day, the accounts have an adage which goes that Yaria a bo kokosechi, a man the tea pie, the bo abua adenda and go wuye. What happened at our time? If it had happened at your era, we would have collapsed the entire country. That's because so when it comes to the management of this economy, the facts and figures stand tall for the MPP. Don't go there. Mr. Speaker, we have had a by-election at Kumaru, and it was very peaceful, as I just recently alluded to. One hopes that the Asin North by-election will follow the same trajectory. But again, for my colleague to send us back and say that we should not allow what happened at Ayawaso West to happen again in the next by-election, to me, I think is not a statement that ought to have been made. Because if you are talking about the most violent by-election that we have had in this country, it was at Tripoli, when 7 people were shot at point blank by an operative from the castle. You have the courage to talk about violence in by-elections. Don't go there, my colleague. You are a newly baptized minority leader. You have not been confirmed yet as a minority leader. The bishop is waiting to confirm you. Mr. Speaker, there is a tall order. There is a tall order for us this time around. Mr. Speaker, unfortunately, we are going to have a very short meeting. Not more than 8 weeks that we are going to have here. Mr. Speaker, I have asked the ministers to do another prioritization of the program that they brought to us. Already we have about 69 bills. We cannot deal with all of them. 69 bills. We can't deal with all of them. So I'm asking them to do a prioritization of their business, their various businesses, and then we shall sift them to see which one we will be able to deal with. Mr. Speaker, we have come back, and I believe we are fresher, even though I see from the demeanor of some of my colleagues on the other side in particular that they've come back not in good shape as far as their finances are concerned. Let them work hard, and I believe that their stocks will be replenished. Mr. Speaker, we have lots and lots to do. Let me welcome us once again and hope that they will bring back new energies, new resolve for us to work together to achieve what we have set ourselves to do. Mr. Speaker, I thank you, and once again, I welcome members to the chamber. Thank you.
Honorable members, let me say that the urgent recall of the House to the one-day sitting is a sitting. I'm sure the new revised standing orders will take note of the definition of meeting and sitting in the Constitution and go accordingly. Honorable members, I welcome you all to the second meeting of the third session of the 8th Parliament of the 4th Republic. The recess has been long and very eventful. I believe it offered you enough time and space to interact with your constituents. It also provided some of you, particularly the minority members, an opportunity to account to the sovereign people of Ghana resident in your constituencies for your stewardship as their elected and legitimate representatives in government. You further sought an extension of your mandate from your party delegates at the primaries. Let me, on behalf of Parliament, congratulate the members who were able to make through the constituency primaries. I've been in those shoes many times, and I know how difficult the primaries can be, particularly for members from constituencies considered strongholds of the party. To those who were not successful at securing an extension or renewal of the mandate from your constituents to represent them in the 2024 elections, I still congratulate to lead and serve their constituents. We shall return. For now, it is very important that you remain honorable and patriotic selves and continue to commit yourself to the oath which you swore to your constituents and the good people of Ghana and live by it. You still have in excess of 1.5 years to serve as an MP. Do not allow the outcome of the primaries to detract you from your focus as a member of this honorable House. Honorable members, during the recess, I led a parliamentary delegation to pay a working visit to Westminster in London, where we had various meetings with members of the British Parliament from both the House of Commons and the House of Lords. The meetings were very fruitful and insightful. We shared many perspectives on various issues as well as some best practices. There was a lot of interest in Ghana by members of both houses. As a result, there were many other side meetings that were requested in addition to the main program for our visit. All the meetings turned out very well. And there are a number of things we learned that we put in place in this house. I was also privileged to deliver the keynote address at the opening ceremony of the 2023 First Ordinary Session of Benin's Parliament and the swearing-in of the Right Honorable Louis Behunu Vlavonu as Speaker of the Ninth Parliament of Benin. The delegation I led held private discussions with the Speaker, who was as passionate as we were, to further deepen the bond of friendship between the parliaments of the two countries. Those of you who are old enough will recall the football matches we used to play as Parliament of Ghana with the Parliament of Benin. We intend to at least create the opportunity for some of you to participate in those football matches. Additionally, I attended an urgent call of colleague and friend, the Right Honorable Olufemi Hakeem Gbajabiamila, the Speaker of the House of Representatives of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, to assume the interim position of the Speaker of the Conference of Speakers and Heads of African Parliaments, and the African Speakers Debt Cancellation Campaign Initiative. We discussed a number of issues, including how to sustain parliamentary democracy in Africa and make the incidence of frequent military takeover a thing of history. With your support, I believe I'll be able to provide the right guidance to add value and to advance further the objectives of COSAP, particularly to achieve debt cancellation for African countries during my tenure as the President. The Supreme Court, as you all recall, has delivered a ruling in the case involving our former colleague. Honorable members, the Supreme Court has ordered Parliament, I repeat, the Supreme Court has ordered Parliament to expunge the name of Honorable James Jachi Kwesi as Member of Parliament for the Asin North constituency, after declaring his election unconstitutional and consequently the swearing in of the member as unconstitutional, null and void and of no effect. According to the court, the procedures leading to his election were in violation of Article 94(2)(a) of the Constitution. It held that at the time Honorable Kwesi filed his nomination to contest for the seat, he had not renounced his Canadian citizenship and thus owed allegiance to a country other than Ghana. The court faulted the Electoral Commission for permitting him to contest the election. Parliament has therefore been ordered to expunge the name of James Jachi Kwesi as Member of Parliament for Asin North constituency. The judgment was served on Parliament through me, and on your behalf, I directed the clerk to Parliament to notify, in accordance with the Constitution, the Electoral Commission of the occurrence of a vacancy in the Asin North constituency. The clerk has since then notified the Electoral Commission to take the appropriate consequential action as required by law. The rest is well known to all of you, and I need not bore you with it. Honorable members, Parliament will have to dispassionately consider the next course of action. That is, how to comply with the order of the Supreme Court, I quote, to expunge the name of James Yachi Kwesen as a member of Parliament for Asin North constituency, unquote. The House is to decide on the procedure to do so, not the Speaker. I count on your good judgment in this matter. I am, however, enjoined by the standing orders of Parliament to make provision as I deem fit, since no procedure has been laid down by any rules of practice of the House to comply with this new development of an order on a declaratory judgment. This is the first time Parliament has been ordered to do such a thing, even though we had similar cases before. But this is the first time, and our rules don't have any procedure laid out on how it should be done by Parliament. You have all been told about the outcome of the Kumewu by-election, and I don't need to go through it again. But honorable members, let me emphasize what the majority leader has stated. It's just a reminder that the second meeting promises to be an activity-packed one. Before we went on recess, I informed you of a number of activities planned for the 30th anniversary celebration of the 4th Republican Parliament, which will commence during this meeting. You all recall that I mentioned the planning committee is chaired by the honorable member for, is it Achim North or Achim South? Abuakwa South, sorry. Honorable Ata Achia. Where is he? He has suddenly disappeared. This is a year-long celebration and involves a number of activities such as lectures, roundtable discussions, games, public symposium, and fora across the country. I've been informed by the planning committee that the celebrations commence on Thursday, 15th June 2023, with a mock parliament and debate in Wa, the Upper West region, followed by a public forum in Tamale on Friday, 16th June 2023. On Saturday, 17th June 2023, a peace walk and fun games involving sitting and former members of Parliament and the metropolitan, municipal, and district chief executives in the Upper East region will take place at Bolgatanga. Honorable members are enjoined to participate fully in these activities. I will deliver the keynote address in Tamale at the public forum. I accordingly direct that the clerk should share the details of the entire program with all members and staff. Please, your participation is key to the success of the celebration. Honorable members, we also have to plan, and we are in the course of doing that, to host the 66th Commonwealth Parliamentary Association Conference here in Ghana. The CPA conference is scheduled to take place from 30th September to 6th October 2023. Honorable members, I don't want to hear from any member later on that he is not aware of these programs. In addition to the above, it's better for me to emphasize for the attention of members that by the nature of these events, members are required to be actively involved. Not just a few committed members. I mean, all members are required to be involved. We'll move after Bolga to either Sekindi Takoradi or Ho or Kumasi, but whatever the situation will end up in Accra. And so please, we expect all members to participate in these activities. As a result of that, I'm directing the planning committee. In fact, I want to urge them on to invite the National Commission on Civic Education, members of the media, particularly the Parliamentary Press Corps, and the civil society organizations that are in active partnership with Parliament to be part of the communication team of the planning committee to help promote these events and by extension help sustain parliamentary democracy and the image and reputation of Ghana's parliament. It is an opportunity for us to reach out to our people to explain the concept and practice of multi-party democracy, especially the option that Ghana has chosen for itself. I hear people comparing democratic practice from country to country. They are not the same. They have different options. And therefore, the route to heaven is not just one. There are many routes. It's important that we use this opportunity to let people understand what we are doing in government and what type of system we are trying to practice in the country. In addition to the above, this meeting will consider 69 bills which are at various stages. 5 of them are private members' bills. We have 56 instruments for presentation, 165 papers to be laid, 16 public motions. I think I have to mention the revised standing orders, which is of utmost importance. And we intend to either this week or next week bring it to the House for your action. Honorable members, let me conclude by warmly welcoming you again and pray that this time around we will improve on our conduct and behavior, not only on the floor of Parliament, but also outside the presence of Parliament. With this, you are welcome. Honorable members, may I, with your kind permission, extend the sitting beyond the normal sitting hours in view of the nature of business before us. We will now take item 5. And I hope item 5, dealing with correction of votes and proceedings and official report, will be so I start with the votes and proceedings. The 2nd May 20, page 1, 2, page 4, page 5, page 6, page 7, page 8, page 9.
Mr. Speaker.
Sorry? Yes, Honorable Member.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Page 9, item 5. The clerk to Parliament, Mr. Srel Kwabena Otin, I'm sure it should be Nsia instead of Nisa.
Thank you so much, Honorable Member. The spelling of Insia.
Yes. Then item 6. Item 6. If we come to the Honorable First Deputy Speaker and communication from his President informing the Speaker and the House of it's on her leadership. Justice Gertrude Araba Esa. The Esaba should be double A. That's Esaba, not Esaba. It's ESAABA and not ESABA. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Member, thanks so much. Please, table office, take note of the spelling of the two names, Insia and Esaba. Page 10. Page 10. Yes, Honorable Member.
Madam Speaker, on same page 9, item 6, last but one line, His Lordship, Justice Percy Anin Yabua. The Anin Yabua should be hyphenated. Anin Yabua should be Anin Yabua. Anin is correct there, but it should be hyphenated.
Yes, table office, kindly take note. Page 10, page 11, page 12, page 13, page 14. Yes, Honorable Member.
Honorable Speaker, on page 13, the first paragraph, last line, Development Bank of Ghana should be Development Bank Ghana. There's no preposition. The off should be cancelled.
Table office, delete off between bank and Ghana.
And on page 14, the same observation is identified. The first paragraph, the last line, the off must be cancelled. Then, under this honorable house, hereby resolved as follows. The last line, the off should be cancelled. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Table office, all consequential amendments should be carried out. Page 13, page 14, page 15, page 16, page 17, page 18, page 19, page 20, page 21, page 22, page 23, page 24, page 25, page 26, page 27, page 28, page 29, page 30, page 31, page 32, and finally, page 33. Honorable members, in the absence of any further corrections, the votes and proceedings of the emergency sitting dated Tuesday, 2nd May 2023 are adopted as a true record of proceedings.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, papers may be late during the week, and reports from committees may also be presented to the House. Motions may be debated and their consequential resolutions, if any, taken during the week. Mr. Speaker, the Business Committee, on its own part, takes this opportunity to welcome all members back from the Easter recess, which the committee believes has afforded refreshment to honorable members and therefore position members for the assignment for the second meeting. Speaker, this meeting promises to be demanding, as I already stated in my opening remarks, because a number of bills and other important parliamentary business will be considered. The Speaker, bills that may be presented to Parliament number, as I said, over 69. Instruments that are being processed to be delivered to the House number about 56. There are 711 questions, 700 oral and 11 urgent questions that have been filed. The Speaker, this meeting also promises to be very demanding of members in view of the fact that the meeting may, in all probability, not travel beyond 8 weeks. Members having returned from their constituencies after their interactions with constituents would want the needs of constituents at question time, as the Business Committee is anticipating an increase in the number of questions that have already been filed. For this reason, Speaker, the Office of the Leader of Government Business has been conferring with the ministers to determine their respective prioritized agenda for the meeting. It is hoped that by this joint effort, the House will be assisted to make judicious use of the limited time at its disposal. Right Honourable Speaker, as members are aware, the House was unable to consider the proposed formula for the distribution of the Ghana Education Trust Fund, GET Fund, for the year 2023 during the emergency meeting on the 2nd of May 2023. The Business Committee hereby informs honorable members that the House will sit in a committee of the whole on Wednesday, the 7th of June 2023, to consider the proposed formula for the distribution of the Ghana Education Trust Fund for the year 2023. The Speaker, in view of the concerns being raised by the public regarding the just ended SIM registration exercise, the Business Committee proposes that the Honourable Minister responsible for communications and digitalization be invited to attend to the House on Thursday, the 8th of June, to apprise honourable members of the SIM registration exercise which ended on Wednesday, the 31st of May 2023. Right Honourable Speaker, there are 10 public bills before committees as well as 5 private members' bills. In this regard, the committee urges the committees with these referrals to expedite work on same for the consideration of the House. Again, committees with referrals other than bills are also being urged to expedite action on same for the consideration of the House. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, in accordance with Standing Order 160 sub 2 and subject to Standing Order 53, the committee submits to this August House the order in which the business of the House shall be taken during the week. Mr. Speaker, the agenda as set forth on various days is before us, and I do not intend to go through the agenda as listed, except to urge the Hansard Department to capture the entirety of the agenda as having been read into the Hansard. Mr. Speaker, I submit.
Very well. Honourable members, yes. Honourable member 4. Welcome.
I'm grateful, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I commend the Majority Leader for the presentation of the business statement. Mr. Speaker, the first concern relates to questions. I note that the Honourable Majority Leader raises concern about the exigencies of time. But, Mr. Speaker, there are some of the questions that are urgent in nature. And I would like to appeal to the Majority Leader, for that matter, the Business Committee, if you can consider the questions that are urgent questions, so that they can be put ahead of the pack and then ministers can be duly arranged, Mr. Speaker, to appear before the House. Then, Mr. Speaker, item number 4, the proposed meeting on the Get Fund formula. We have an indication of the day, which is tomorrow, but you don't indicate. Is it right after adjournment, or is there a specific time, the time for that meeting, so that members can be well informed? Finally, Mr. Speaker, the briefing by the Honourable Minister for Communications and Digitalization, I want to commend the committee. That is a matter of public interest, which is really timely. However, there is another matter which I thought will also feature, which relates to the IMF program. I was expecting that would be the second matter that will be tabled, so that the Finance Minister will apprise the House, give us a thorough briefing of what has been agreed with the IMF. So I want to appeal to the Majority Leader if they can create some space for the Finance Minister, just as they have done for the Minister for Communications, so that the Finance Minister can also come and brief the House. Mr. Speaker, I conclude with a correction at page 4, the last but one page, CODVET. It should be vocational education or vocation. Item number 4K. the Council for Technical and Vocational Education and Training, not vocational. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I want to commend the Business Committee and the Chairman of the Committee, the Majority Leader, for the business statement that was made. Reference the invitation for the Minister of Communications and Digitalization. It's captured in the summary, but when you go to page 3, which has the breakdown of activities for Thursday, 8th of June, it is missing conspicuously there. But I want to say that it is a right step. In fact, we should have had this briefing today, if possible, because we are talking about over 8 million SIM cards that have been disconnected, including even the SIM card of the Speaker of Parliament, not the Deputy, but the Speaker of Parliament himself. His official SIM card was disconnected, even though it was registered in the name of Parliament of Ghana. We have judges, we have lawyers, we have doctors, MPs whose SIM cards were disconnected. Even me, my SIM card was disconnected. Our SIM cards were disconnected. But I'm the honourable member of Parliament for Ningo Prampram, elected member, and the elected parliamentary candidate for the NDC again.
And the leader of the Stubborn Academy. And the leader of the Stubborn Academy.
The Dean of Stubborn Academy. Mr. Speaker, no. The Stubborn Academy is insisting that the National Identification Authority must provide us Ghana cards. Because, Mr. Speaker, it is important that the Minister briefs this House, even if possible today, because people's livelihoods have been affected. And people's money they use for their transactions has been stuck. You understand me? On their cards. And Mr. Speaker, it is important that this House takes into consideration that the National Identification Authority has failed to issue any Ghanaian citizen a Ghana card in any district NIA office since December 2022. And so it is not the fault of the Stubborn Academy that we've not been able to register our SIM cards. It is not the fault of any Ghanaian that they have not been able to register SIM cards, and that the NIA must also appear here alongside the Minister for us to resolve the matter. I thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Yes, Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. Yes, Speaker, I want to thank the Business Committee for this statement. I am happy that they've admitted that this meeting, we're going to have a lot of work to do. And so we should all brace up for the task ahead of us. They stated that we have about 711 questions to be answered. And that's 700 oral and 11 agent questions. The question I want to ask is whether these questions are new ones. They are questions that were filed long ago. I have about 6 questions addressed to the Ministry of Trade when the then minister was in charge. I followed up with several follow-ups to ensure that he was here to answer the questions. I never got any feedback. There was then an acting minister. I followed up, and still there was no response. We have a current minister. One would have thought that some of these questions would have found space in this week's business statement.
Hold on, Mr. Speaker, to take the chair.
Yes, Speaker, thank you. Yes, Speaker, I'm just making an appeal that given the volume of work we have in this particular meeting, one would have thought that some questions will be part of this week's activities. And so, for instance, the Minister of Trade is here. I have a lot of questions addressed to him. If you can comply with him so that some of those questions will be answered in this particular week. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Majority Leader, I think you can respond to the issues raised.
Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Congratulatory is requesting that we prioritize the urgent questions and have them answered as soon as practical. I think that is what we usually do, and we conform to that. Speaker, the proposed meeting, committee of the whole meeting, it requires the administrator of the GET funds and also the Minister of Finance to sit to do some reconciliation before the meeting could come off. So I'm hoping that they will sort it out. I've indicated to the Finance Minister that I'll be meeting him this evening, so that we'll try to clear whatever obstacles that there are. And then when we are through with that, then we can have it tomorrow, anytime. Maybe upon adjournment, or if it becomes necessary to even break into the sitting and have a meeting. That is of the committee of the whole who will do that. The minister responsible for communications is here, and the Honorable Sam George, who was insistent that I should come and answer the question today. He raised the issue, but he has left the chamber, as if he's not concerned with his own request. The Speaker, the Business Committee met this morning, and we have to have some engagement with the Minister responsible for communications and digitization, in order that he will come to respond to this. You cannot just drag her to the chamber and tell her that come and brief us, because there may be some technical issues that he may have to bounce it off her technical officers before coming, which is why we decided to program her for Thursday. We've had some discussions with her, and Thursday is agreeable to her. So, Mr. Speaker, on Thursday, the Minister will be here with us. I think another member raised an issue in respect of the Finance Minister coming to the House to apprise the House of the agreements with the IMF thus far. It's legitimate, but the Minister is programmed to, I think, respond to some questions relating to same subject matter. So we'll see if there's still space to accommodate that. We'll see what to do. In any event, Mr. Speaker, I believe that the mid-year review will strongly be flavored by the IMF program and the deliberations that went on into that. The Speaker, I think the last person who raised issues related to the number of questions that we have, over 711. By necessary implication, when I say that those of them that are on board now may increase the number, so it's just to you that these are a sack full of questions that are outstanding, which you have brought to this meeting. So, Mr. Speaker, we have to touch base with the various ministers and ministries to ensure that the questions are not unnecessarily delayed. What it means with these questions, the number of questions that we have, what it means is that on daily basis, ministers appearing may have to respond to so many questions. And that then will mean that in order not to unnecessarily impact negatively on public business, we may have to maybe curtail the time of asking questions. The Speaker, not the time of asking questions as in slashing the 1 hour assigned time. I'm talking about supplementary questions. Perhaps, in particular, in respect of constituency-specific questions, we may have to limit the questions to members who will just ask those questions and we'll move on so that the many outstanding questions could be responded to adequately. Mr. Speaker, thank you.
Honourable members, after the response given by the majority leader, take it that the business statement as presented is adopted. I am guided by leadership that we are not taking statements today. We will therefore proceed to public business. At the commencement of public business, item 8, presentation of papers. The following papers to be presented. 8A, by the majority leader, Roman 1.
Annual report of the public interest and accountability for the period January to June 2021.
Honourable members, with your kind permission, let me just add Roman 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then I can proceed to make the referrals. So please, Roman 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, Majority Leader.
Semi-annual report of the Bank of Ghana on the Ghana Petroleum Funds for the period July 1st to December 30th, 2022. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the University of Energy and Natural Resources for the year 2020. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Ghana Education Trust Fund for the year 2020. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of Cocoa Processing Company Limited for the year 2020. Budget performance report in respect of the Ministry of Food and Agriculture for the period January to December 2022.
Honourable members, Roman 8, A1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 are referred to the Public Accounts Committee. It's only Roman 6 that is referred to the Subject Matter Committee, which is the Committee on Food and Agric. Is that the case? Yes, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, these are annual reports and they go to the Subject Matter Select Committee. So one will go to energy, two will go to energy and the leadership of the Finance Committee. 3 goes to education, 4 to education, and 5 to finance. Finance and I say agric. The speaker is 5 is for agric. and 6 again for our break.
Honourable members, you heard the majority leader, and so the reports as presented are so referred to the appropriate subject matter committee for deliberation and report to the House. Item 8B, Chairman of the Committee.
31st report of the Appointments Committee on His Excellency the President's nomination of Justice Gertrude Araba Esaba Saki Tokono for appointment as Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana.
Honourable members, the report is laid accordingly and is for distribution to all members of Parliament. 8C, by the Chairman of the Committee. Chairman of the Committee on, I think, roads. Yes, Majority Leader.
Finance. Speaker, this is to Finance Committee. And the Vice Chairman is here. The Vice Chairman is here. Speaker, I had a discussion with the chairman of the Finance Committee this morning over this, and he agrees that the committee will have to meet in Brett and submit a report to us. We told them, they advised the House that that environment could be done, but even if it has to be done, the Finance Committee should buy an information paper, inform this House of their agreement that this is what they have advised should be done, so that it becomes part of the record of this House. So, Mr. Speaker, that is what they are going to do, and submit a report to us. And that report is already here, so it cannot be made today.
So, honourable members, item 8C will therefore not be laid. We will await the deliberations and the outcome from the appropriate authorities. Item 8D, by the Chairman of the Committee, Youth, Sports and Culture. Honourable members, means that is not ready, so we move on. Item 9, presentation of papers. Ghana Accreditation Service Bill 2023. Minister for Trade and Industry.
An act to establish the Ghana Accreditation Service to provide for an efficient and effective accreditation system for the accreditation of conformity assessment bodies, to monitor conformity assessment activities, and to provide for related matters.
Honourable members, the bill is referred to the Committee on Trade and Industry with the support of the leadership of the Committee on Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs for consideration and report to the House. Yes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Speaker, there's a matter that I need to bring to your attention about this. Well, there's some agency about it, so we will be asking that you kindly entreat our colleagues to determine the agency of it and to report accordingly. Now tell Mr. Speaker what the agency is about. Apparently, the World Bank under a certain program is giving the ministry an amount of over 5 million, Mr. Speaker, to be able to establish implement the processes about this particular bill. Unfortunately, the processes leading to the papers being laid in Parliament today, Mr. Speaker, delayed a lot. So we have a time space, a window of opportunity. According to the conditionality of it, if by the end of this month, the bill is not promulgated into a law, we lose the 5 million cities, $5 million. Accordingly, there is an executive approval from the presidency, which allowed for this matter to be quickly brought to Parliament. There's also a letter from the Attorney General's office, which dispensed with the need for gazetting. These matters are brought to your attention so that the committee members will take into account and report on the agency of it, so the House would run through the processes and enact it, Mr. Speaker, before the end of this month. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, I have not seen the bill myself, and I don't know the content of the bill. Mr. Speaker, I'm a bit curious about it. Curious in the sense that the minister is saying that we should take it through a process of agency because there are some urgent matters relating to it. Mr. Speaker, we're also minded that we have a responsibility to do a good job. Probably the ministry has spent months in reviewing and coming out with such a bill. Parliament would need adequate time to peruse it and pass a bill that will stand the test of time. Mr. Speaker, I beg. This attitude of always trying to say that things are urgent and so we should rush it, I beg to differ. I think we should be given enough time. Members have just come from recess. We are well energized. We are ready to work. But we shouldn't rush it. Let us do it in such a way that it will stand the test of time. I think, Mr. Speaker, I submit. I think it's something that we should be minded and work according to the processes that we are allowed to do. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, I'm not too sure that anybody is saying that the House should rush through the consideration of this. See, what this means, he is telling us that because it's delayed so much, the World Bank has given us a definite time. And by the close of this month, June, we would not put in place the structures required for this. They will pull out the funding, which is $5 million. So he is bringing this to us to consider. Now, the determination of urgency just means that you will skip the 14-day Gazette notification period. So that when it comes and the committee determines, then that day they will go and do the gazetting. And then Parliament will have ample time between now and the end of the month to do the consideration. That is what it means. It doesn't mean that you are required to do it in one day. That is not the purpose of the declaration of an urgent bill. So, Mr. Speaker, I think you can make the referral, and the committee then will make the determination. And the committee, after the determination, will take their time to go through it and appropriately and accordingly inform Parliament.
Honourable members, in view of the
Thank you, leader. No, thank you. Give it to me. Mr. Speaker, I'm interested in this because looking at my background, I've seen Ghana Accreditation Service Bill. But this country, when we talk of accreditation, our minds are always tuned to matters of education and National Accreditation Board. So when the minister was on his feet, I thought he was going to go by Order 75-2, just to make short explanation or statements about the explanatory memorandum, so that members may know the kind of bill that is being laid. So that if this is different from... No. The Speaker, with your permission, I quote Order 75-2. If so desired by the person presenting a paper, a short explanatory statement may be made by him upon each presentation. So I just wanted the minister, the 5 million World Bank and this is okay, but that is not in the explanatory memorandum. Can you make a short statement of explanatory memorandum?
Mr. Speaker, with the greatest respect, let my colleague read what is contained in the rules of procedure. A short explanatory statement, not memorandum. Please, read it. A short explanatory statement. He's not talking about memorandum, which deals with the policy, principles, and so on. The mischief that you have seen and how you intend to cure it and so on. That is a memorandum. This is a statement. And he's telling you why and indeed what has occasioned the urgency of the presentation. That is what he has told you.
Honorable members, in view of the submissions by the Minister for Trade and Industry, the Minority Leader, and the Majority Leader, I withdraw the initial referral to the Committee on Trade and Industry and the leadership of the Committee on Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs, and now refer it to the Committee on Trade and Industry to determine the urgency or otherwise of the bill and report to the House within 2 days. Within 2 days for the determination of the House, and then we can proceed from there. It's so referred. Is there any more item to be laid? Because my attention has been drawn to the fact that yesterday marked the World Environment Day. And since yesterday we were not certain, a statement could not be made. And the Minister for Environment, Science and Innovation will want to do so today. In the absence of any more business to be laid, we move back to item 7, statements. Honorable members, a statement will be made by the Minister of Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation, the Honorable Dr. Kweku Afriye, on the World Environment Day celebration. Honorable Minister, you may do so now.
Thank you very much for the opportunity, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm particularly grateful because of the urgency that we've attached to this subject. But I believe that everybody is aware that environmental issues have taken center stage. And in fact, by creating awareness amongst ourselves, we also embrace the fact that it is not governments alone, and indeed not nations alone, but the ordinary man in the street has a contribution to make in the solution of this problem, which tends to, present a bleak future for the perpetuation of the human progeny and others if urgent action is not taken now. Mr. Speaker, honorable members of Parliament, my pleasure is to be with you to give the opportunity and to be given opportunity to deliver a statement to this August House today as we celebrate this year's World Environmental Day under the global theme, Beat Plastic Pollution. Mr. Speaker, 2023 marks the 50th anniversary of the World Environmental Day, which has undoubtedly grown to become the largest global platform for environmental outreaches. The UN declared 5th June as World Environmental Day to promote public awareness and action on environmental issues. The 2023 Environmental Day celebration theme, Beat Plastic Pollution, emphasizes the need for collaboration between governments, organizations, and individuals to combat threats posed by the plastic pollution and effectively provide solutions towards achieving greener and better lifestyles. It is imperative to also note that this year's 50th anniversary will be hosted by our western coastal neighbors, Côte d'Ivoire, and it was done yesterday in partnership with the Netherlands, which is notably one of the countries taking ambitious action along the plastic life cycle. Mr. Speaker, the plastic waste, including nose masks, grocery store plastic bags, disposable plastic scarves, and takeaway containers, is becoming a major issue for African countries and the world, and indeed is impacting biodiversity, tourism, infrastructure, fisheries, lands, and livelihoods. According to a study by the UN Environment Programme, UNEP, the world annually accrues an amount of 100 million metric tons of plastic waste, with 10 million metric tons habitually ended up in the oceans. Globally, the total volume of plastics ever produced is some 8.3 billion metric tons, of which 6.3 billion metric tons is now trash, and 80% of this waste are in landfills and the natural environment. Mr. Speaker, Ghana generates some 30,000 tons of municipal waste every day, with only 14% collected, 38% dumped in open spaces, 9% dumped indiscriminately, and 11% burnt. Plastics entered our country in significant volumes in the late 1990s, providing convenience and reducing agricultural waste. Mr. Speaker, research indicates that by 2050, under a business as usual scenario, more plastics will be in the ocean than fish. And indeed, I dare say that perhaps it's even occurring more in Ghana than elsewhere, because I've had the opportunity to hobnob with fishermen when I was minister for the Western region. Accra residents live in low-income communities with inadequate waste management infrastructures and services. Residents often dump their waste into open spaces or drainage, which end up choking the drainages, contributing to perennial floodings in the country, especially during the rainy season. Over the years, the waste stream is changing from organics to increasing proportions of plastics, and whereas the attitude of disposing of indiscriminately remains widespread, this has cumulative and compounded negative impacts on human health and environmental quality, highlighting the emerging global concern of microplastics and nanoplastics. Mr. Speaker, to mark this year's celebration and ensure that we beat the menace of plastic pollution in Ghana, the Ministry of Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation, in collaboration with key stakeholder institutions and its private sector partners, will undertake projects for edible and compostable packaging as a sustainable alternative to single-use plastics. We will also engage and assign public and private collectors to collect and store plastic waste. And indeed, a novel thing, we are emulating the idea of implementing a grid system of monitoring the collection and storage of the plastics, particularly those below the 20 microns, which we have often referred to as orphan plastics, because the current system where we used to collect plastics is rewarding of the weight that you put on a scale, so that those plastics which are very thin are never collected and indeed left in the environment. This system we will roll out in the next coming months as a model to deal with the least collected plastic types. Mr. Speaker, the government of Ghana, through MESTI, local government decentralization and rural development, and sanitation and water resources, fisheries and aquaculture development, and among other ministries are working together. We are working together to deal with this international environmental challenge by implementing the following. 1, promoting the domestic recycling industry. 2, providing the appropriate policy, legislation, and regulatory framework that protect both the environment and industry. And then 3, creating the enabling conditions to facilitate access to sustainable financial resources needed to set up the structures and facilities for an effective rollout of the National Plastic Policies Implementation Plan. Mr. Speaker, undoubtedly, the strongest governments on earth cannot clean up the menace of plastic pollution by themselves. They must rely on each ordinary person, including you and me, to achieve extraordinary results. Just like the emission system, everybody has got its own footprint. So the plastic menace, whether you like it or not, you cannot do it alone. We have to have all hands on deck approach to solve this problem. It is my hope that we will continue to work together to find lasting solutions to phase out the menace of plastic pollution and bring to fruition His Excellency the President's vision of making Accra the cleanest city in Africa and the world. I wish to end my statement with a passionate appeal that we unite as Ghanaians in playing effective roles in managing plastic waste to protect our environment. Let's therefore use this day as a catalyst for social change to collectively beat plastic pollution in Ghana, reject single-use or orphan plastics, and chart a path to a cleaner, healthier, and sustainable environment for both ourselves and posterity. I thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and members of Parliament for their forbearance. Thank you.
Yes, Ranking Member.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to comment on the statement made by the Minister for Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation. Mr. Speaker, listening to the Minister reminds me of a comment I made here on deforestation and an attempt that we are making to repopulate Ghana with some trees, at the same time cutting down trees at vantage places. Mr. Speaker, the issue about plastics and the effect on life cannot be underestimated. Mr. Speaker, if you go to any refuse dump today, the first sight is plastics. What you see is all plastics. Mr. Speaker, after heavy rain, downpours, when you walk along our coastal areas, you will see the sea telling us a story, rejecting the plastic that we've dumped in the sea. Mr. Speaker, my question is that what is the source of all of this? And what are we doing to stop the infiltration, the use of plastics? Mr. Speaker, we have gotten to a point where, as individuals, we have to take a decision. We'll continue to lament, but what are we doing about it? We have all the policies and programs. How effective are we monitoring or implementing these programs? Mr. Speaker, another phenomenon that is also emerged or that has emerged today is that growing up, I know kenke is packaged with leaves. Banku, as I enjoy it and still enjoy it, was even if it had to be packaged, we use leaves to package it. But today, what do we see? After they have packaged kenke with plantain leaves, they add on plastics. Mr. Speaker, anything that is even packaged with paper ends up in plastics. And sometimes, even as individuals, when you go out there to buy anything, you end up, soiling your car or even your own home with plastics. Some of them avoidable. Mr. Speaker, it is about time we take individual decisions. Personally, Mr. Speaker, I have decided that anywhere I purchase anything and attempt is made to package it with plastic, I refuse it. I refuse it. Yesterday, I was at Marina Mall to buy some medication. After it has been placed in a paper bag, the lady put it again in plastic. So I asked her, what am I going to do with this? What is the use? Mr. Speaker, we must make some effort to discourage the use of plastics. We need to discourage the use. Otherwise, they would always find an excuse of importing these pellets and continue to produce the plastic bags, which will end up in our drains. And when they choke the drains, we spend a lot of our hard-earned money to desilt. And Mr. Speaker, interestingly, in Ghana, when we say desilt, we remove them and put it by the side of the gutter, and at the end of the day, when it rains, it goes back. So we need to find a way of preventing or reducing the use of this and encourage the use of materials that are biodegradable. Where are our paper bags? Where are the paper bags that we used to? Yes, Mr. Speaker, plastics have found their way into every facet of our life. You buy kenke, it is plastics. You buy wache, now the flavor that we used to get from the leaves is gone. Banku, the same thing. Kenke, the same. And I think that we can do without this, I don't know, the science behind the use of the plastics, to cover the dough before you put, the leaves on it. I don't know. I've been thinking about it. And I don't think it's the best way to even preserve, the kenke or banku. And I think that some of these things are being done out of ignorance. And we need to reach out to our people and take individual, decision to help in reducing the use of plastics. And I believe that is the way to go. Otherwise, we continue to lament. We talk about it. We talk about the programs. And indeed, very laudable, very nice programs on the paper. But are we carrying the people along? Each one of us at least must make a pledge or take a decision that at least if I used to carry 3 polythene bags a day, let me reduce it to 1. Then try and stop like I have decided. If I come to buy your tomatoes and you don't have paper for me, I'll leave. I'll go and buy it for somebody who will put it in leaves that are biodegradable or will give me a paper carrier bag. And I believe that when we do that, it will lead to a reduction in the importation, it will lead to the reduction in the production, and therefore reduce its effect on our environment. With this, Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity to contribute to this statement. Thank you very much.
Yes, Honorable Doctor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. And thanks to the maker of the statement. Mr. Honorable Speaker, I'm asking this question. Where is that plastic policy document that was started about 4 or 5 years ago? And I heard that it was in Parliament. It was in Cabinet. Where is that document now? Because the maintenance of the plastics is too much. Research is coming out with a lot of new findings, and that is plastics is causing infertility, both among men and women. It's causing diabetes now. Plastics is causing cancer. The chemicals that come out when we burn is causing a lot of respiratory problems for people. And even the thyroid gland is beginning to suffer from the plastics. In agriculture, the animals, when they swallow the plastics, they die. The goats, the sheep. I mean, if you see that your dog or something else have died suddenly, it could be that it has swallowed some plastic. We might not do post-mortem for them, but that is the situation. When the soil itself is destroyed by plastics, and so we should be asking ourselves as a nation, what are we going to do? This policy, are we also going to go like other nations where we only talk about it, but in the long run, we don't do anything? We sit down and then every year, I don't know whether the plastic lobby or those who produce plastics, they are always able to lobby their way through, and we don't get our laws and other things banning the importation of these plastics into the country. If you take some other countries, they've already banned the importation of plastics, especially the single-use plastics. They've already banned them, and they are thinking of banning everything. Those biodegradable and non-degradable plastics have all been banned. And that is the only way we can go. If we don't swallow the bullet, I'm telling you that with the new findings that is coming on in the area of science, in the area of medicine, I'm telling you that we don't have any solution to it. We'll continue to be thinking that it is witchcraft, it is some other causes. But like my man was saying, we are all exposed to it, because whenever we are taking our food, we are taking plastics or dissolved chemicals that come out of plastics into our body. And this is causing a lot of harm to us. So we better look at the plastic policy and get our, start moving in the right direction and probably ban the use of plastics in the country. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Ablakwa. Ablakwa.
I'm most grateful, Right Honourable Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to the statement on World Environment Day, which has been ably delivered by the Honourable Minister responsible for Science, Environment, Technology and Innovation. Mr. Speaker, The theme for this year's global commemoration, beat plastic pollution, as the Honorable Minister has reminded us, requires of us as a country, Mr. Speaker, to address this canker head on. We have, in my opinion, Mr. Speaker, done the advocacy for a long time. It is time for action, to switch from advocacy to action. And Mr. Speaker, in recommending action, I am glad that the Honorable Minister is here and has led us to commemorate the day. However, in listening to this, the Honorable Minister carefully, I do not hear of a concrete action plan. For example, Mr. Speaker, we know that countries who have passed laws to ban single-use plastics, for example, have made tremendous progress. Countries that have banned plastic bags, you can see the remarkable difference when you visit those countries. Mr. Speaker, an example is Rwanda. Rwanda banned plastic bags in 2008. And Mr. Speaker, as a visitor to Rwanda, they search your bag. You see the notices at the airport. They even tell you before you come in on the website of the airport that you are not allowed. Offenders can face a jail term when you are arrested. That is how strict they are. And Mr. Speaker, everybody has seen the difference. It's become one of the cleanest countries in the world. They are attracting conferences. It's become the conference hub for Africa. Just because of that singular law that their government led and their parliament promulgated. So, Mr. Speaker, we can learn from that. Kenya also follows suit in 2017. Senegal has also followed suit. So, we can move from the advocacy to real action. And today, Mr. Speaker, some of us want to appeal that let us as a country adopt that approach. Let's start by banning plastic bags. And it is easy, Mr. Speaker, to switch from plastic bags to paper bags, which are biodegradable. It's very, very easy to do that, Mr. Speaker. I know that there may be some commercial interests, some business people, but we can encourage them to switch to other businesses. For example, investing in the production of paper bags so that we can protect the environment, so that we can live. Because really, what is money, what is commercial interest, what is profit without life and without quality health in your country and amongst your people? So, Mr. Speaker, I would want to appeal to the Honorable Minister. I know he's very dynamic, very hardworking, and he's one of the ministers I have enormous respect for. It will be a great legacy in his name if he can lead all of us so that we can ban these single-use plastics. For example, Mr. Speaker, these plastic cutleries, plastic straws, we can ban the importation of them and then switch to paper cutlery, straws that are made from paper, and they work efficiently. They are so, they get the job done. So, Mr. Speaker, I would not want this day to pass and then it's just another reminder about the dangers of plastics, how it's taking over the seas, how it's killing life in the oceans, and the threat that we all are conscious of. What we need is for this House to team up with the executive to pass laws that will, because really, if we just rely on moral suasion and sermonizing, the Speaker, there will be no progress. The best examples are countries who have addressed the challenge head on, have passed laws, have outrightly banned them, and they are enforcing those laws. That, Mr. Speaker, is the way to go. I really don't see what we should be afraid of as a people. We should just deal with this threat and join in the league of those countries who have become environmentally friendly and are being celebrated globally for dealing with the matter head on. As I conclude, Mr. Speaker, I would also like to remind all of us that on World Environment Day, another major threat that we face is the issue of galamsey. It is not over, and we all must find a lasting solution. So yes, let's deal with the threat of plastics, but let us also address the issue of galamsey. I saw a statement from the Ghana Water Company cautioning that in the next 5 years it will be difficult to guarantee the production of water. I think that that is more of an urgent threat in our context, in the Ghanaian context. And I hope that the Honorable Minister will present to us sooner than later a new program, because we know that the earlier ones have not yielded the results. If we can have a new program that we can all rally behind so that we can protect our water bodies, protect our environment, and stop the illegal mining, and make sure that we are able to guarantee life for our people. That, Mr. Speaker, will be a great legacy that we can all leave as members of Parliament. I thank you very much for the opportunity to contribute to the statement, and I hope that all of us in our lives, our personal lifestyle, the way we go about our livelihoods on a daily basis, as the Honourable Ranking Member has said, we can start in our own way by making a personal pledge that we will not use some of these plastics. We will not use plastics that are not that cannot be recycled. And even here in Parliament, Mr. Speaker, we can also start. Those who bring us food at the cafeteria and all of that, we can start by making sure that the packaging, they are either using paper, or if they would even use plastic, it is recyclable, so that we lead by example and we show that this is really not rocket science. There are simple solutions that once there is commitment and there is a political will, we can pursue those solutions and get the results that we want. I thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And thank you to the Honourable Minister for the statement that you made commemorating World Environment Day. Mr. Speaker, Cote d'Ivoire have just adopted a new environmental code against plastic pollution in their country. Cote d'Ivoire is our neighbor. Countries like Tanzania, Kenya, Mali, Cameroon, Uganda, Ethiopia, Malawi, Morocco, South Africa, Rwanda, and Botswana also have strict policies on the use of single-use plastics. Mr. Minister, perhaps it is time for you to also reiterate what the strict policy can be on single-use plastics for our country. Because it gets to a time when perhaps the talk is a bit, we talk a lot. We talk a lot, we tend to make the nice statements, the nice speeches, but after about a month or two, then the enthusiasm dies down. So, Honourable Minister, I'm pleading with you that let's reduce the talk and let's have more actionable impacts. That will be able to make sure that our country is considerably rid of these single-use plastics and the pollution that goes along with it. I represent a coastal community. When the fisherfolk come from the sea, the catch is fish and plastics. And it is very, very significant. You can ask anybody along the coast. We face it more because the pollution in the sea is very, very pronounced. Perhaps along the Volta and along the riverine communities, there is maybe a little less. But for those of us who are coastal communities, it is very, very Very, very pronounced, and it is very worrying because fishermen cannot spend money buying the scarce premixed fuel and then go all the way to sea to go and catch plastics. It is very disillusioning. So, Mr. Minister, I'll plead that you make realistic efforts at this. We are here in this house to help you. Each one is responsible for a constituency, and I believe that whatever policies that you want to enact, we are here to support because we all have semblance of this pollution in our communities and our constituencies. I believe that you could also have cross-sectorial support. As you go, your Ministry of Environment, let water and sanitation, because they are also very much affected, and sanitation is very key in supporting you on this. And let it not be a one-day wonder or 9-day wonder. It can be a whole campaign, just as you are, campaigning on your Break the 8 with the vim, all the vim that you are able to master. We should have a campaign on plastics pollution, single-use plastics, and what the citizens should do. And I believe that they will also follow suit, because it will come to a time when we realize that we have been sleeping on the job. The plastic pollution is that damaging to the environment. And at that point, we all just raise our hands up in despair. And we must not get to that point. Honorable Speaker, Mr. Minister, please, I plead with you, take concrete steps. We are here to help. Everybody's constituency has challenges with single-use plastics. But then beyond that, remember that the climate crisis is also real. The loss of biodiversity, galamsey, and other environmental degradation activities that are ongoing. And we plead that let your campaigns be stronger in the whole environmental space and the whole spectrum, so that we can also take advantage of them and hook onto yours. As we have the Greening Ghana Day, which was quite significant. After Greening Ghana, some of us in our constituencies have actively taken that on as a program on our own. But then let this also follow Greening Ghana so that we can make significant progress. And I believe that as we represent the people, they will see the effort that we are also making to be able to improve on our environment. It's very critical. And let your campaigns, your media, and all those other campaigns show that we mean business. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let me thank the Minister for the statement on the World Environmental Day and for bringing very critical issues of global platform on the environment. Mr. Speaker, we should all be very worried when the Minister says by 2050, more plastics will be in the ocean than fish. Mr. Speaker, that's very, very serious. And Mr. Speaker, I was expecting to see on a day like this a bold statement by the Minister, as has been stated, as changing the course and taking a critical step to deal with a menace that is basically engulfing us, banning plastics. There's a reason why Côte d'Ivoire is going to host this conference that the Minister made reference to, because Côte d'Ivoire has taken a bold decision to ban plastics. And Mr. Speaker, there's no reason why we shouldn't take that step. I think a question was asked, what happened to the steps we were taking with a policy on banning plastics? The Minister will be happy to address that issue next time. That he traveled all the way to Cabinet. What happened? Because I believe this House is ready in support of that policy. Mr. Speaker, what has prevented us to pass that, I believe, is what is really Nigeria is struggling with. We should never get to the place where Nigeria find themselves where the generator lobby will not allow Nigeria to solve their power crisis. If the issues are the industry players who are so powerful, we should address it with some incentives to move and encourage people in that industry with incentives to basically change course. But the time has come for us to really address this issue. Mr. Speaker, on a day like this, as we talk about plastics and its challenges, the health concerns that have been raised, we should also be talking about our own personal responsibility and how culturally we are changing. Mr. Speaker, what happened to the days when you were growing up? Every 5 a.m., if you are a young person in the house, you have to go and clean up and sweep around and make sure by 6 o'clock your whole environment is clean. It's surprising that as a member of parliament, you even visit small towns there and go off in debt. Mr. Speaker, what happened to the dreaded town house? We call it town council, but they call it town house, where you know that on a day they show up in your house, you are in trouble. So everybody is striving to be clean. We must accept we are engulfed in debt, and we have to do something about it. Mr. Speaker, we've talked a lot about tourism. The reason we are not going anywhere is because we are engulfed in debt, because of our environmental issues that we are talking about. We have to address the issue of trash, but more importantly, we have to address the issue of cleanliness. If we are to promote tourism, if we are really to attract the type of investment that we want. Countries are going forward and they are attracting more investment because of how they are dealing with the issues of the environment. It has become normal for us on an annual basis to deal with flooding and likely death of our citizens. And Mr. Speaker, we must ask the question, when does that stop? And I think, Minister, you have a great opportunity. And I think when you listen to the commentaries of members, we stand ready to support your ministry to deal with this issue of plastics and other environmental issues. Mr. Speaker, as a member of parliament of Accra is the place that we can take very important guests, and we are proud that this is our country. Clean. That's the capital of Ghana. And that should tell us a lot. On a day like this, we must reflect on our environment, we must respect on our water bodies, we must reflect on the issue of galamsey that quite frankly we've lost, we must reflect on the issue of plastics and vow that we will change course. And Minister, you have our support. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, statement time is ended, and I proceed to adjourn the House. The House is accordingly adjourned to tomorrow at 10 in the forenoon. The House is adjourned.